Of all people, you would think that Terry Anderson, who for 7 years was held captive by terrorists in the Middle East, could get a straight answer from his government. But when Anderson requested information about his Islamic Jihad captors, the government refused to give it to him, claiming it constituted an unwarranted invasion of their personal privacy. Honest, that's what they said.
Gloria Lenhoff remembers more than 1,000 songs, yet she can't add 5 plus 4. Michael Williams can play almost anything, yet he can't go out the door without getting lost. Megan Finn studies music in college, but can't tell left from right. Tonight, we'll tell you why.
Tonight on 60 Minutes, we'll review a controversial abortion law passed in Kentucky that will be heard by the Supreme Court next week. The law would require a woman to take a drug test prior to having an abortion. Kentucky argues that the test has very legitimate reasoning behind it, and therefore is reasonable, following with the Fourth Amendment statutes. The logic behind the tests is that women whose judgment is clouded by drugs should not be making the decision to end the potential life of a fetus. Planned Parenthood and other pro-choice activists are infuriated by the new law, claiming it's just another conservative attempt to reduce the number of abortions. The issue of abortion has sparked much controversy ever since the court ruled in Roe v. Wade the Fourth Amendment gave women the right to terminate a pregnancy before her third trimester. We'll talk with 3 experts tonight who will discuss the constitutionality of the new law. This is Nate Selzer, state representative from Kentucky and co-founder of the new controversial abortion bill. What is the purpose of this law? Why should passing a drug test be necessary in order to receive an abortion?
The drug test is designed to ensure that the woman seeking an abortion is of sound mind and mentally capable of making a decision. A person seeking an abortion should not be able to make a decision to terminate her pregnancy with distorted judgment. Obviously, being drunk qualifies as distorting judgment, but also having an addiction can lead to a person making decisions that they wouldn't otherwise make.
Don't these drug tests violate the right to privacy guaranteed under the Fourth Amendment?
The Fourth Amendment guarantees protection from unreasonable searches, but testing for drugs before applying for an abortion is a reasonable search. It is important to know whether the patient is of sound mind before allowing them to terminate their pregnancy.
He also went on to say that much more intrusive searches were considered lawful by the Supreme Court, such as viability tests in Webster versus Reproductive Health Services.
But doesn't the government drug testing someone without having suspicion of drug use qualify as unreasonable?
No, absolutely not. Plenty of people are drug tested by the government when applying for jobs without suspicion of drug use. It's important to know that new hires have clear judgment when working. Clear judgment is also as important when making decisions about pregnancy.
Don't you think forcing people to pass a drug test constitutes undue burden, though?
If the patient follows the law and doesn't drink before the test, there should be little to no burden forced on the patient. Passing a drug test is very easy when you're clean. The only burden that will result is if the test comes back positive. But in Kentucky, we don't believe that that burden is undue.
This is Alex Fuchs, legal expert and partner of Goldman & Fuchs law firm. Will the new Kentucky abortion law require women to pass a drug test in order to get an abortion past constitutional privacy standards?
The Fourth Amendment to the United States Constitution protects people from unreasonable searches. Requiring women to get a drug test before an abortion should qualify as unreasonable. A reasonable search is characterized by an official having reasonable suspicion that a person has committed a crime. An umbrella drug test for every woman seeking an abortion is not a fair or reasonable search by constitutional standards.
We spoke to Alex Fuchs to find out why he believes that this law violates 2 important standards set by the Supreme Court's case in Roe v. Wade and Planned Parenthood versus Casey.
Are you saying that this new law would not pass the undue burden standards set in Casey?
Precisely. That is the issue that will ultimately decide this case. The court will have to decide if Kentucky lawmakers are putting an undue burden on women seeking abortions. In my opinion, this law is just another attempt to try to make it more difficult for women to get an abortion. It is a clear violation of women's privacy to drug test them without reasonable suspicion.
So it is safe to say that you think this law, if deemed constitutional by the court, will be a detriment to the women of Kentucky.
This law is an undue burden on women, a violation of their privacy, and abuse of their Fourth Amendment rights.
This is Avery Super, abortion specialist and doctor at Yale University. So how exactly do drugs affect the baby during pregnancy?
Well, any type of illegal drug is detrimental to the mother's health, whether she's pregnant or not. And depending on the drug which the mother is consuming, it can lead to a miscarriage, premature birth, fetal death, mental or physical health problems, and even a low birth for the baby.
So you said that the different types of drugs can cause different issues. What are some of the issues caused in a child specific to marijuana or crack?
Well, marijuana, for example, increases the levels of carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide in the blood, which blocks oxygen flow to the baby, which it needs to grow. It can also lead to developmental, behavioral, and learning problems. Cocaine causes even greater problems in pregnancy. Cocaine use can cause placental abruption. Placental abruption can lead to severe bleeding, preterm birth, and fetal death. Otis also states that the risk of birth defects appears to be greater when the mother has used cocaine frequently during pregnancy. It also increases the chances of premature birth by 25%. Babies who are exposed to cocaine later in pregnancy may be born dependent and suffer from withdrawal symptoms such as tremors, sleeplessness, muscle spasms, and feeding difficulties. Some experts believe that learning difficulties may result as the child gets older. Defects of the genitals, kidneys, and brains are also possible. These are all issues that the child will have to live with for the rest of their lives, all because the mother was not ready for this type of responsibility.
Is there also a danger to the mother's life?
Yes. A mother taking illegal drugs during pregnancy increases her risk for anemia, blood and heart infections, and skin infections. These, compounded with the more fragile state of childbirth, can be a serious problem for the mother's health.
Avery believes that if exceptions are to be made for the health of the mother, this law will effectively be useless, as almost all women with drug dependencies will experience health risks with pregnancy. Previously, the Supreme Court has not allowed laws that made it difficult for people with possible health risks to get an abortion, such as in laws discussed in Ayotte and Griswold.